A very good evening to everyone. I'm Neha, Ambassador of Change for GETI, that is Global Education and Training Institute, founded and conceptualized by Dr. Sunita Gandhi, with the vision of disrupting the education movement as we know it. We also organize pre service and in service training for teachers so that they can actually help spearhead this disruptive education movement. And under the same umbrella, we also organize detox, where we invite policymakers, educators, researchers, and various people from the education fraternity to discuss various best practices in education with us. And today, I'm very honored and thrilled to have with us Mr. Jamie Alama joining us all the way from Peru, which I think is a good morning from his end. You'll notice he's joining us early morning from his end. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, dear Neha. Neha, that's the way you pronounce your name?
Yes, sir. Yes, I pronounced my
Neha,
name.
okay. I want to thank you and Getty for this kind invitation to be with all your followers. And I hope that your followers can meet their expectations.
Absolutely. When Sir says meet the expectations of the audience, he meant because the choice of this topic today is very unique and close to our hearts and the hearts of our audience. That is teacher training development. Sir is also a teacher training unit coordinator, which is why I think this topic will be very relevant for our audience and everyone who will watch. And I think this is going to be a very good learning experience for us as well. Therefore, I'm really looking forward to this presentation and Sir's thoughts drawn from his own personal experience.
Okay, so you just tell me when I'm supposed to start.
Sir, I've added your presentation. You can start. The stage is yours.
Okay, I'm showing my PowerPoint. Just let me know if you can see it.
Yes, I can see it's perfectly visible.
Okay. Okay, this is my university, Universidad de Piura in Peru. I know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Not to worry. We can see it.
Okay, and this is the city where I live. It's called Piura.
Yes.
It's in the desert. And this is my country. It's divided in three natural regions: the coast, the highland, and the jungle. And this is South America, where my country is, where I am broadcasting. Now, let's reflect. There are three questions I would like you to keep in mind until the end of the presentation. And they are: why do we need continuing professional development? What are the challenges for people carrying out CPD in your area? And what would you like to see change in how CPD is run in your country? Number one, let's check what is professional development. According to the dictionary, we have here three: professionalism, professional, and professional content. Professionalism, they say, is the combination of all the qualities that are connected with trained and skilled people. And what is a professional? Having the type of job that is respected because it involves a high level of education. Now, summing up, we have that professionalism is a kind of expertise acquired through educational and training at a high level. Then let's think hard. What kind of expertise do English language teaching professionals need to do their job successfully? And the answer is, first, we need to have a professional development framework. Why? To create well-established definitions of expertise, to take control of our development priorities, and the most important, to achieve effective teaching through the understanding of the key skills, knowledge, and behaviors. Then let's have a look at the CPD frameworks designed by the Cambridge English Teaching Framework, by the British Council, and the European Profiling Grid. This is what they say. In green, you will have the areas mentioned in three frameworks. In yellow, you will have the areas mentioned in two frameworks. And in red, areas mentioned in only one framework. And this is what we got: key knowledge and skills needed for effective teaching. Okay, as you can see, I repeat the green ones and the yellow ones, just to keep in mind. The green ones, the three areas are mentioned in the three frameworks, the yellow in two, and the red one in just one. So this is what we got. Take some time to read and get familiar with it, or maybe you already know it. Okay, for the Cambridge English teaching framework, this is what is important for the European profiling grid and for the teaching English CPD framework. This is interesting. The only one, the European profiling grid, considers education and training, assess teaching, teaching experience, intercultural competence, digital media, which is in fashion more than ever today, and administration. Then, this is a summary of the key knowledge and skills needed for effective teaching. The teacher's own language ability, proficiency, and awareness. Planning language learning, courses and learning. Managing language learning, assessing language learning, not evaluating, and professional development, including values and conduct. Now, sources, books for teacher professional development. Here you got where you can get some very important information. I know face to face this Diaz Magoli, Gabriel. He's from Uruguay. He's been to the to the IOTEFL conferences recently, and he writes very good books about teacher professional development. Now, other sources that you can consult are these ones. Here you have teaching language teachers, lessons learned, professional development, second language teacher education, and experiences of second language teacher education. If you write to me, I can send you the links of these books so you can maybe download them and read them and apply them in your daily classes. You also have these books, the Second Language Teacher Education, the Cambridge Guide to Second Language Teacher Education, the Effective Teacher Development. Now, the question is, what is teacher knowledge? He has to know subject matter content language, pedagogical content knowledge, curricular knowledge, general pedagogical knowledge, knowledge of learners and their characteristics, something that is really important now more than ever. Also, knowledge of educational context, and also knowledge of educational ends. This is the source is Schulman, 1987, in board 2016, page 19. There you can find all the info about this matter. Now, types of teacher knowledge we got: knowing about, knowing how, and examples being able to do something, and knowing to. Three important types of teacher knowledge we need to know: being able to use knowledge about and know how in the right place at the right time, of course, to support learning. All these ideas are to support learning. The source, Malderes and Wedel, 2007. Now, what are the expectations of a professional teacher? Educated broadly and well. Now we can travel without leaving our house. We can just get in line online and listen to different professionals all over the world, know about other countries and other realities, just as we are doing now. Knowledgeable about the fields to be taught, familiar with how learners develop, behave, and learn, and also knowledgeable about and skilled in the profession of education to assure quality standards, ethics, something really important, and responsible conduct. The source, Academy for Education Development, in Diaz Majoli, the guy I told you who is from Uruguay, and he's a really expert. Now, why are professional experts important? After the students themselves, what is the greatest source of variance that can make a difference? Obviously, the teacher, another colleague, people who work with us in the same institution, people who work in the same field in our city, in our country, and now in other continents. Excellence in teaching is the single most powerful influence on student achievement. Now, does expertise matter? Of course, the fundamental quality of an expert teacher is the ability to have a positive influence on students' outcomes. Teacher subject matter knowledgeable and pedagogical knowledgeable have little effect on the quality of a student's outcomes. I don't say it, it's John Hailey who says that in his book, Visible Learning, sorry about the spelling here, Visible Learning for Teachers. Now, how do experts differ? It depends where you come from. It depends your background. It depends how you were taught. It depends of the travels you have. It depends of the plenaries, conferences, etc. that you have been to. Have a deeper understanding and more integrated, knowledgeable of the content they teach, of course. Set challenging goals. They are sensitive to context, something really important. They are excellent seekers and users of feedback information about the effect they are having on learning. The source, here you got the source. Now, let me explain something about my country. Maybe it will sound a little bit demotivating, but this is a study that the British Council did in Peru like 6 or 7 years ago. Okay. The British Council in 1918, they say that in Peru there are about 15,000 English teachers. 27% belong to the English profession, only 27%. Now, according to Pearson Peru, 3 out of 10 teachers are certified to teach English. I don't know what about your countries or your realities, but that would be interesting to listen to you and compare figures with our figures. Now, according to MINIDO, the Ministry of Education in Peru, they say that 58% of the English teachers belong to another career. So they are not really authentic, actual English teachers, but they are engineers, they are architects, they are psychologists who study English, and they prefer to teach English instead of their majors. Now, what is the reality in your countries? That is what we are going to talk, if you want, at the end of this brief presentation. Now, the big question is what to do with our professional teacher development. So, number one, keep educating yourself. No matter if you are the PhD, no matter if you are the master, no matter if you are at the bachelor, it doesn't matter if you've been to many conferences, it doesn't matter even if you have presented in a conference or international or in your country, but we always need to keep on educating ourselves because we will never stop learning. There is always something new to learn. So get our bachelor, our master, our PhD degree. Of course, we need to study, we need to know, we need to be updated. Take international proficiency exams like the TOEFL, the Cambridge, Michigan, Trinity. It doesn't matter which one, but we need to test ourselves every 3, 4, 5 years. Then from my personal experience, I highly recommend you to take the teaching knowledge exams, the TKT. If you take a look at the modules 1, 2, and 3, there is a lot about for learning, for our teaching, managing document, paperwork, students, group work, teachers, everything, phonetics, classroom management, etc. Then attend conference in your country and abroad. And the most important, I don't know if it happens in your countries, in your continents, but here in Latin America, in South America, when my university, organize a conference, the first thing they ask is, are you going to give us a certificate? And the next question is, how many hours is the certificate going to certify? People are not much interested in the speakers or the topics, but the certificate. Not all of them, of course, But for me, it's demotivating because the first thing is to learn, apply what we learn, and of course, share what we learn with other teachers in our area. Also, deliver a workshop and share what works effectively in your classes. Most people think that people who deliver workshops are the professionals, are the ones that only know. No, everybody knows. Even the teacher who works right in the jungle or right in the highland or the desert. My city is in the desert, okay, is in the border of Ecuador, and we everybody knows and everybody has something to tell, and we can learn from his or her experience. So we don't have to be that professional to deliver a workshop about something that works effectively in our class. Then something really important, it's a very touchy topic because most people here in Latin America don't like to be observed. First, because they are going to find out what our weaknesses are. But that's okay. If we invite a friend to observe our class, our best friends, little by little, we will get used to it. And then we can invite people who are not our friends, but if they are objective, they will give us very important information, our teaching practice. Then keep updating, reading books, as I said before, magazines, surfing websites, form groups of study with your colleagues. It doesn't matter if there are people in the groups who know more than you or less than you. The point is keep updated, not to compare yourself with others, but with yourself. If you were here at here this year, let's see what will happen in 2 or 3 years. We need to move on. Set high goals and expectations and take advantages of experts, ELT professionals, colleagues, and students in conference and seminars. I happen to know Mary Scholl, uh, a very exceptional and wonderful expertise. She lives in Costa Rica, but she's from the United States and she travels the world giving conferences. Then the past president of the TESOL International, Miss Christine Kuhn, she writes books and books, and she lives in Dubai, if I'm not mistaken. And she's been working there like for 20 years, and she writes books and gives conference everywhere. I met her in Mexico. Then this wonderful professional, a good friend of mine, Mrs. Marisa Perez Cañedo. She's from Spain, and she also travels the world. She writes books, and I can call them my friends. And the one, Gabriel Diaz from Uruguay, as I told you before. The four characteristics of these people is that they are professionals. They write books. They travel the world, but they are very humble. They share what they know. I remember Christine Kuhn. I didn't know her. It was the first time I attended one of her conferences in Mexico, and at a NUPI conference. And I approached to her at the end of the conference with my USB, and I asked her, and I told her, "Hello, Mrs. Kuhn, I'm Jaime Ankajima from Peru. I'm the teacher training unit coordinator, but my friends, my colleagues couldn't come to this conference. Do you think you could share your PowerPoint with me so I can present it with my friends? And where is your USB? Give it to me." And then I learned that it doesn't matter how professional you are, how the degree you have, or the 100 conferences you've been to, but we need to be humble. One of the and generous. One of the characteristics of big good professionals is to be humble and generous. Then something that works very well is do action research in your own classroom. Thanks to Rilo in Peru, I was invited to take different courses, and one of them was action research. They even gave us a book. So I talked to some friends. Here we have Elizabeth Calderon, a friend who works in a public school, and she said to me, Jaime, my students don't they have problems to speak in English in class. So I told her about the action research program. We organized the activities, we filmed, we videotaped her classes, and at the end, after 2 months, she realized what was going on wrong, and she herself realized about this, and she started changing the way she was doing her teaching practice. Also, this here you can have some examples of action research books. And to finish is try out different methods and approaches and think and now outside the box. Always what works with other people maybe can work in your class. Maybe what I'm talking can help you or maybe not, but try it. Something else that I discovered, that I found out because of the pandemic, I have to be honest. 2 years ago, I was working comfortably in my classroom at the University of Pura. And then, because of the pandemic, the president of the university informed all the professors, 400 professors, 300 professors, we are going to work using Zoom. And we said, what's that? So I'm 58, I'm not that young. So I had to learn how to use Zoom, the break rooms, and everything else. So the best way for me to learn is to organize conferences online. And in that way, I also created a community, an online community. And here you have some people, for example, from Canada, from the USA, from USA, and we have already organized like 72 international English online meetings on Sundays. So we do it every 2 weeks. And also, because we have all these videos, I also created a YouTube channel, Jaime and Kahima Teacher Trainer, where you can find all the videos these great professionals have shared with us. So this is a great source of information. And of course, because of the pandemic, many of us have suffered from emotional effects. We have been crying, we have been pushing, we have been struggling to teach online. So one of the solutions is engage in new professional activities and do things for the first time. If you have never played basketball, try it. If you have never learned how to play a musical instrument, do it. Attend a class on a language that you don't know, like Italian, French, I don't know. Final thoughts. When professional development is creating for teachers, by teachers like this one, everyone wins. You, me, people listening to us, people will listen and watch this video in the future too. Development is a series of rebirths. Why? The answer is obvious. Because after a conference, after a seminar, after a presentation, we have doubts, we have new ideas, we have new challenges, and we are reborn. The perfect teacher, the perfect curriculum, the perfect lesson do not exist. We are all works in progress. We are always learning. I'm learning here a lot from myself, from yourself, thinking about what you are thinking about what you may ask after this presentation, thinking about, am I doing it all right? Are they meeting their expectations? The most valuable resource that all teachers have is each other, even your enemies, people who don't like you. Sometimes, or most of the times, they will tell us the mistakes we don't want to see or we don't want to hear. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives. Yes, we need other perspectives. As teachers, as you become more professionally mature, you become more professionally humble. And this is something that I want to highlight. It's a takeaway. It's something that I want you to take away. It doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter how much we know. It doesn't matter all the degrees we have. The more educated we are, the more humble we are supposed to be. A successful teacher is a student for life. Yes, I've been studying English since I was 16, since I was at the school, and now I am 58. So you can tell me how long I've been teaching, learning, making mistakes, crying, struggling, and everything else. Something that I always like to present in my presentations. Usually teachers, we say that that class is bad, that group we don't like it, and or that group of students is very bad. But what about if we listen to this student saying, how do I know I have a learning disability? Maybe you have a teaching disability. I don't know if you agree with me, but most students love a subject, number one, because of the teacher's personality, because of the teacher's approach, because of the teacher's attitude, more than the teacher's knowledge. Now, now, after this brief presentation, what do you plan to do to continue with your professional development? Sorry about the finger pointed at you. Now, what is your professional development plan now? And thank you. This is my email if you want to write to me, and this is my WhatsApp if you want me to send you the PowerPoint presentation. I will be more than delighted to share it with you. And maybe if one of you wants to be a guest speaker in on my Sunday English International online meetings, I will be very happy to have you as a guest speaker. Okay, and that's it.
Sir, can you just move back to the slide where you had your email and everything? I wanted the audience to have, just take a couple seconds to maybe take a screenshot of that slide or something, just in case they want to get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm sharing it now. Can you see it?
Yes, sir. But that's
Okay.
not the slide on the of your email. This is the I think this is a teacher professional development slide. This is the content slide, I think, not the end
Okay,
one.
okay, okay. Let me go
Towards the
fast.
end.
Let me
Yes, it
let
was towards the end. Yep.
all right. Here it is. Oops. I'm so sorry. When we make mistakes giving a presentation, I always tell my friends that only good professionals have these mistakes. Here it is. Jaime Dot and Kahima. That's the way my name is pronounced. Jaime
Okay.
Dot and
Hi.
Kahima.
Okay. Okay.
Ah, sorry. Here there is something missing. Let me now. This is the new one. Sorry, sorry,
Okay.
sorry. Thank you
Take
for
time.
asking. Yeah, now it's complete.
That's perfect. I think, this is going to give some time to the audience,
Yes,
just in
yes.
case they.
UDEP because of the University of Piura. That's the
Mhm. Your
PE
institute.
because of Peru. No, wait. UDEP. Sorry. I'm making a mistake again. I'm so sorry. Now it's complete.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
edu because
perfect.
of education and PE because of Peru. And that's my WhatsApp number. If anybody wants to contact me for talking, discussing, quarreling about education or whatever
Absolutely.
you want, that would be very rewarding for me.
I think that's perfect, sir. I'll just now remove it. I think whoever would have wanted to take the details would have taken them by now. And once again, sir, thank you so much for that very informative presentation. There's a lot of appreciation in the comment section. Absolutely amazing, absolutely perfect. So I think, as I had predicted, the audience has liked your thoughts. Considering that we are all teachers and educators over here, constantly on the lookout for better training and taking more experience from people who are more experienced and well versed in this field more than us. I think I would like to ask a question and conclude it, and I think I'd be asking it on behalf of my team and the audience members. Is that one problem that we've faced in India? I would say particularly with teacher training is the implementation of teacher training. You know, the resources and tools and everything that we give to our teachers in the teacher training. The fact that they feel or find it difficult to implement, say, in the classrooms, in real time, considering that they have so many responsibilities, taking attendance, managing students, completing the curriculum on time, and taking tests, assignments, checking them. So this is something that we come across a lot in our feedbacks, is that the training was beautiful, the resources were amazing, but they do not have time or energy to implement that in real time. So is there something you would like to help us with over there?
Well, well, that is the same question and the same problem with our teachers here to implement
Yep.
everything beautiful, everything wonderful that the speakers present in their conferences. So that's why the beautiful thing about our field education, because we need to try and experiment and something that can help you. I'm sure you videotape your classes and then you sit in your house and then you watch it and be as subjective as possible. And if you find that you don't like something, take note of it and then ask other colleagues and and ask them, what can I do to encourage my students to speak, to write, to raise their hands? And maybe we will notice that we are doing something that doesn't work with us, but works with some other people. I believe 100% in class observation. And if we don't want another person to be in our class, videotape your class, just 10 minutes of the activities, just 5 minutes of your grammar presentation, just 5 minutes of group work, and you will be incredibly surprised of paying attention to different mistakes we all make.
Okay. Okay. So I think you went on mute. Maybe I cannot hear you right now.
No, no, I can hear you.
Okay. 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 Perfect. Perfect. So that's a good thought, sir. Actually, trying to reflect on what we did in our classroom as teachers can help. This is basically self-reflection. This is going to help us see our mistakes, because sometimes we forget that we are teachers and we also tend to make mistakes. Mistakes are not just reserved for children. So I think that's one thought we can actually implement on. I think teachers and educators who are listening to this and will listen to this can take note of this wonderful idea that sir has just proposed, and maybe try it in our classrooms and see if it can produce results. I'm sure if sir is saying this from his experience, then I think there is some takeaway in this. It's actually also a very good thought to self-reflect.
Yes.
Everyone does it. Businesses do it. They reflect on their sales and everything. So why not teachers? Teachers can do that for when whatever they teach in their classrooms. That's a very wonderful thought. Thank you so much, sir, for that very wonderful presentation and once again your thoughts. But before we wrap up, I would like you to share some word of advice for our teachers and educators before we wrap up.
Well, number one, I want to thank you, dear Neha and Getty, for contacting me and to present this brief presentation about this, something very important, something that we teachers sometimes say, oh, I got my master's degree, I don't need to study more, or I got my PhD, I don't need to learn something else. No, no, no. There is always something to learn, always, about humans, about classes, about students, and now much more after the pandemic. Our students have suffered a lot. I've seen students crying because one of their relatives passed away. I've seen students crying because they didn't have internet. I've seen students they lost the school year because they couldn't pay for it. So I think that we have to come back. We have to go back to the first beginning when we were just a simple professor without the technology, thinking about the student itself, himself, thinking about his emotions, her mental health. Yes, mental health is both important for teachers and students. If the teacher is fine, the class will be fine. If the teacher
Absolutely.
is angry, the class will be a disaster. If you are angry, don't go to work. take a deep breath first, pray if you're Catholic or whatever religion you have, and then think that you are going to work with human beings, 20 human beings. You will help them or you will hurt them.
Absolutely. That's a very good thought, sir.
Thank you so much, dear Nija. Hope to be
Thank
back with you sometime in the future.
Absolutely, sir. Looking forward to hear from you again. Thank you so much for joining, sir, and have a very good day. And we'll have a very good night then.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.